Hello everyone. Now let's today learn something about the usability testing. So before going to the usability testing, we must know the definition of usability testing. And before going to learn about the definition of usability, let's try to learn or let's try to see what we are today going to learn in this particular lecture. So basically what we are going to understand, we must understand what is usability testing, then why usability test is being performed, then what are the objectives of the usability testing, then what are the core elements of the usability test, and the last one, how to perform the usability test with the user, right? So ultimately when it comes to usability testing, we must know the definition of usability. So what is usability? Usability is nothing but it is the degree of ease with which products can be, such as device or software or any web application, can be used to achieve required goals effectively and efficiently. So in simple terms, we can say that usability is nothing but how easily you can use the product. And why usability is important? To enhance the user experience, right? And ultimately what is user experience? How the user is happy before, during and after using the product. So ultimately if you have developed any product, you must increase its usability as well as the user experience. And to check the user experience, we are performing the usability testing, right? So now the next question is, what is usability testing? So usability testing is the most common technique to check how usable the product interface is from the perspective of human centered design, right? Because we being the human, we are designing the product and humans are using the product. So we have to check how usable the product interface is. Now the next question, why usability test? Why to perform the usability test? So first, the answer is first, that uncover the problems present in the design. Suppose you have designed a product, right? So by usability test you will get to know what are the problems are available in the design. Now comes to the second, discover opportunities to improve the design. So in usability testing you are going to get the feedback from the user, so that user will allow you to improve your design, right? So usability test is an opportunity. Now comes to the third part, and you in usability testing you are going to learn about the user behavior, their pain points, their requirements as well, right? So by usability testing you can uncover the problem, you can discover the opportunities, as well as you learn about the user. Now let's move to the next section, what are the objectives of the usability testing, right? So every process they have their own objective. So here the objective of the usability testing, the first objective is to gain insights from our user, right? So you designed a product, right? So you are going to understand what is the requirement of the user by the usability testing. Now comes to the second objective, see if we meet users expectation in terms of yes or no, right? Now comes to the third one. Here the next objective is to check if the design is matching the business decision to real world application. Every product is designed to enhance the business of any corporate world, right? So ultimately to enhance the business decision, we have to check whether your design product is matching with the real world application. Okay, now comes to the next objective, and what is that? Check if the user can perform the task we proposed while using our product. That is our objective. Suppose if you designed a website, okay, and if you are saying to the user go to the blog section, so whether user are able to find out the blog section, the contact us section, right? So that is our objective, one of the our objective, whether user are performing the task appropriately as per our suggestion. Now what is the next objective? The next objective is to find out if we are on the right track or not. So ultimately what is going to happen, by just giving the instruction you will get to know whether you are on right track or not. And The next objective is to get user reaction and feedback. Ultimately, what we are doing, we are just designing the product, we are just going for the usability testing. So here usability testing, it is your objective to get the user reaction as well as their positive or negative feedback to enhance the user experience. So these are our objectives of the technique. Now comes to here, what are the core elements of usability testing? There are some elements by which we are going to perform the usability test. So what are those core elements? So the first element is the facilitator. He or she will guide the participants throughout the testing process, right? So facilitator is the person who is going to guide the participant throughout the testing process. Now the second element of usability testing is the participants. Participants are the real user, or we can say these are the potential user of the product. Okay, so participants are going to perform some task, right? And the third element of the usability testing is the task means the product whichever we have designed, the whichever product we have designed, right? So during usability testing, the participants are going to perform some task. Okay, and the facilitator is going to check whether the participants are able to perform those tasks or not. Okay, so these are three core elements of usability testing. Now move to the further section, and the question is, what is usability testing and how to perform it or do it, right? So there are four steps involved in the usability testing. So the first step is to create a test plan, right? So when we are creating a test plan, we must have this type of question like, what is the scope of work? Try to identify the objectives, then try to recruit the user or the participants to perform the test and create metrics. Okay, the second step involves facilitating the test. Okay, so here what we are going to do, here we are going to observe the user, we'll try to identify issues, then we'll try to identify the solutions as per the feedback from the user, and we are going to conduct the interviews. So this is the part of our user interviews. Now let's go to the third step, and third step is analyze the case data. So when we are analyzing the case data, we must assess the user behavior, we must analyze the user click path, then we try to identify the problem areas, then we must look into the navigation, like whether the users are able to perform the task whichever we have assigned. And when it comes to fourth step, then fourth step is to create the test report, right? So in test report writing, what you're going to do, you're going to review the video oblique audio footage, you're going to write about the design issues, you are also going to propose some best solutions, or you will try to identify some best solutions, as well as you're going to give your recommendation. So these are the four steps of the usability testing. Now let's try to understand these steps one by one. So we'll start with the first step, that is a create a test plan. So when it comes to create a test plan, we must define the scope of work first, right? So every facilitator need to decide the areas that he or she wants to perform the test, right? Remember, try to think big, try to list out all the tasks as well as then refine it. You should not have more than 12 tasks to test, otherwise what is going to happen, the user will get bored. Okay, so you must define your scope of work properly, then try to recruit the users means participants, right? And remember, this is one of the most important activity, right? So here you can recruit the participant based upon their demographics, such as age, right, their location. You can consider the participants based upon their psychographics as well, right? What are their cognitive background, okay, whether they are existing user or the potential user. Okay, so these can be the criteria for recruiting the participants. Now come to the third step, and what is that? Identify objective. See, you are performing a usability test, so your objective must be clear, like what you want to achieve or accomplish with this test. Okay, what you are looking for or what you want to demonstrate to the user. This should be clear. Then comes to the fourth step, and that is establish metrics. So metrics are nothing but it is the fact based description of user or the task performance upon which to make informed design decision. They are important, right? So matrices are very very important. Based upon this, you are going to take the decision about your product. So metrics you can consider on the time task basis, task performance, success rate, speed, goal fulfillment, expectation, right? Sometimes you can create matrices like ratings also. Okay, 1 to 5 rating, whether users are feeling good they can give 5 rating, or if they are feeling bad about the product they can give 1 rating. Okay, so these type of questions you can create in the form of metrics. Okay, so this is your step 1. Now once you are done with the step 1, you can jump to the second step, and that is facilitate the test. So while facilitating the test, you have to act like a good facilitator. Okay, and good facilitator is the one who can listen every other people very carefully, right? So while facilitating the test, what you have to do or what you are supposed to do, first ask your user to externalize thoughts and feeling when interacting with the product which you are giving to him or her. Okay, then second, try to keep the test environment as realistic as possible, because you never know where the users are going to use your product. Okay, then don't try to minimize distraction. As I said, you never know where the users are going to use your product. Okay, so don't try to minimize the distraction, let it be the realistic environment. Now comes to third point, takes notes. Okay, structured or unstructured, try to take the notes from the uh, while the usability testing. Then come to the fourth point, record the complete session. Ultimately you can go for the video recording, you can go for the audio recording, or if you have the team of more people, then you can go ahead with the pen paper notes. Now comes to the fifth point, do not lead the user, right? You just instruct the user, but don't tell them like what they are supposed to do. You just instruct them. Okay, and don't tell me this is the right, these are the wrong points. Now comes to the sixth point, do not jump into any conclusions during the session. If users are also doing the right thing or wrong thing, do not jump into any conclusion, because they are user, you have to respect the user. Okay, don't jump into any conclusion. Then come to the last point, and which is not the least one, remember that it's not about what we think, because you are the product developer, right? You may be right from your perspective, and what I'm saying, it's not about what we think of what is a good user experience. It's all about how the user perceives the solution, your proposed solution. So relax and listen to the user carefully. Now once you are done with the step 2, now we can go to the step 3, and the step 3 is analyze the case data. Okay, so once you are done with all your testing session, it's time to sit in analyze and information jump into the conclusion. Okay, so here what you have to do, you have to just take, or you just have to analyze your data. Right now once you are analyzing the data, you have to go to the step 4, and step 4 starts with the create the test report. So while we are writing the test report, we must write the background summary. Okay, like for what purpose you started the testing. Okay, then once you are done with the background summary, you can go ahead with the methodology. Here you have to explain how the sessions were done, the task as well as the scenarios that were tested, right? What were the metrics you selected, and a brief description about each segment of the user. Like complete methodology you have to write here in the methodology section. After methodology, you have to write the test result. Here you have to summarize all the results from your metrics. Okay, so you can use MS Excel as well. So ultimately you have to provide a summary here. Then at the end you have to find you have to mention the findings as well as the recommendation. So try to list out all your findings, whether those findings are positives or negatives, right? Ultimately, the point is that if you are having the positive findings, it means you are on the right track. But if you are getting a negative finding, then it means that you are with the feedback from the user. You are having a rich source of feedback from the user. Now what you can do, you can take that feedback and try to iterate your solution once again and again go to the usability testing. Okay, so here we have seen the complete usability testing. Thank you so much.